How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Envision Growth Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Portillo, joined as always by my lovely, because she is lovely, and beautiful co-host and wife, Lynn Portillo.
Hey, guys.
Look at her. She's all dressed up today. She's looking amazing, as she always does. The reason why we're a little bit dressed up today is one of my friends is actually competing in amateur MMA, and we're going to go see his fight today. His dream, his goal is to make it in the UFC, and we know he's going to make it, so we're excited to go out and show our support today. But actually, we're recording a little bit later than we normally would in the week, but it's important to make those adjustments, right? Because life's always going to throw things at you, and it's not what life throws at you, but it's how you react. It's how you make those pivots and adjust and move forward, right? What does Rocky say? It's not about how hard you get hit, but it's not about, how does he say? It's not about how hard you get hit. No, dang it, I forgot how. Oh man, it's been a while since I've watched that movie. That's kind of embarrassing.
We saw Creed though.
Creed, yeah.
That's like later Rocky. He's in there.
He's the coach at that point. It's not necessarily about him.
Like that has him still continue on there. So they have like the Rockies series, and then they have Creed, which goes on, but he's still in it.
Correct.
I think it's fun when the old timers show up.
One thing I will say, and maybe a little bit of a spoiler alert, if you have not seen Creed 3. I didn't like how he wasn't in it.
Yeah, I was sad he didn't show up at all. Or even Jess. I mean, his name's not Jess. I don't know what. Milo is his...
I think so, yeah.
The actor. I don't know his character's name in Rocky. But he could have even showed up or something. I was ready for it and disappointed, actually.
It was weird to me how, Creed 1 was great. Creed 2, out of the trilogy, is probably my favorite. And then Creed 3 happened, and it was okay. Like, I'm not...
it was cute.
It was good. It was cute.
Oh.
That's hilarious.
It had family, a lot of family. It was centered around family a lot in that one. So I thought it was cute. And then how his daughter, like the end of it, was like his daughter in the ring. Yeah. That might be a spoiler too.
So it was I think it was more, okay, it's centered around family in the sense of chosen family, I would say, versus blood family. Because it was his old friend that he grew up with that kind of protected him, that took a fall for him when they were younger. And went to jail, got out, and now, they're, essentially looked for him. And I don't want to go into the whole movie because that's not necessarily what we're talking about. But what I was going to say is that I just maybe call it that I was looking for closure or something like that. But we go from Creed 1, Rocky's in it. Creed 2, Rocky's in it. And then Creed 3, just absolutely nothing. Many years have passed by. Now he's more of a promoter than a boxer. And it just, I don't know, it felt really weird to me. The movie wasn't that.
It could be because he was doing the new show that you were watching. That we watch after Yellowstone.
Oh, Tulsa King?
Tulsa King. I bet it's because he was in that. And
possibly. Possibly that could have been. I didn't look into it too much, I will say. Like, once we saw the movie and it ended, I was kind of sad and I was over it. I'm like, all right, well, it's...
I bet that's why, though, because those recording schedules, they always are messed up. And that's why there was a different Victoria in the Twilight series, because recording didn't work out.
Gotcha. Makes sense. And speaking of Yellowstone, aside from the writer's strike that happened last year and everything that had happened, in the last couple of years, that's why Kevin Costner isn't doing, or supposedly, I still have hope that he is going to finish it out.
Please finish it out.
But I do, that's the reason why there was a pause on the second part of the season. And now there's the, rumors that Matthew McConaughey is coming in, kind of going to replace him, or they're going to kill John Dutton's character off. I don't know how they're going to do it. I mean, when we look at...
I love a Matthew McConaughey, but I don't know how he's going to replace him.
But hold on. When you look at, what was it? So it was the new trilogy of Star Wars. It was The Force Awakens was the first one. And then was it... Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I have no
idea. I forgot the name of the new 3 ones, but the second one, or the new trilogy, but the second one, Leia. It's not Judy. Is it Judy Fisher? Her real? No, that's
Fisher's her last name.
Yes, but is it?
I don't think that's her first name.
Anyways, the actress who plays Leia, she had passed away.
Yeah, and then her mom passed away afterwards of sadness. Debbie Reynolds is.
That's who I'm talking about. Excuse me, Debbie Reynolds is who I'm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher. Yeah, it was Carrie Fisher. Yeah.
You said Judy.
Did I say Judy? I'm sorry. Well, she passed away.
It's gonna be embarrassing considering you like all the Star Wars. Just saying.
Not but then.
I don't know Leia's name.
It's not Carrie Fisher because she wasn't even in the movies. It's
She did die, though. And
she did die in real
CGI
life, yeah. But correct. So Leia, let's get back on Alex, figure out your life. Leia, and I want to say it's Judy Fisher, and I might be completely wrong, and I love Star Wars, so this is kind
Carrie Fisher is Leia.
Is it Carrie Fisher?
Yes, that's what I was just
saying. Oh,
yes.
So then who's her mom?
Debbie Reynolds.
Debbie Reynolds.
From Halloween Town.
There we go. Yes.
The Grandma Aggie.
Yes.
She died of sadness after Carrie died.
She did. And now that I'm done embarrassing myself,
okay.
let me...
That's cute.
What I was going to say...
You're cute too, just like Creed.
What I was going to say was that when Carrie Fisher died in real life, Leia, okay, we got all that figured out.
Yes.
She didn't finish some of the scenes, and they did CGI, and they're kind of like old Paul Walker. That's what I was going to say.
But they had his brother do it.
They did have his brother finish it, so I wonder... if Kevin Costner does not return for Yellowstone,
there's CGI
how they're gonna
face on Matthew McConaughey.
No, I don't think they're. I think Matthew McConaughey is gonna come in like a long lost uncle or brother or something like that.
Oh, he'd be great.
Right. So I don't know. I'm excited, and I know he's supposed to be in the spinoff from what I read or what I saw.
Okay.
But anyways, we're kind of getting off track.
That's okay. These are shows we like. We don't watch much TV, but those are the few we do.
It's true. What was the topic? How did we get here? I forgot. So
you've been busy.
But yeah,
I asked you how your week was going, and you said you've been busy.
But no, we were talking about. Man, this is terrible. Anyways, let's just get into it because I honestly don't. I don't remember what point I was trying to make.
We were talking about Rockies and Creeds, and you were sad that he wasn't in the third one.
Okay, thank you. So we were talking about how we got here by saying that life's going to throw adversity at you.
Yes.
And it's how you make those pivots.
Oh, okay.
And then we started talking about Rocky, and then you brought up Creed.
Oh, sorry.
And then we got into
blame
Yellowstone.
me for the tangent.
And then we got lost for a second, but now we're back. Okay. So let's refocus because that was bad. Apologies.
It's okay.
That is if you're familiar with the DISC, what's called personality assessment, it's something we've talked about in previous episodes. That was what we call a very high I moment. So high I's have what is called shiny ball syndrome. So you're talking about something, then something random happens, you go on a tangent. And so, yes, she pointed at me. I do have a high I, high DI is what my profile is, but my I is higher. And so, yeah, that was definitely a very
But I helped him with the little details because of my high C in there.
Yes.
Doesn't know who Carrie Fisher is. You guys, I've only seen the Star Wars movies like once, except the last one. That's like the good one where Anakin loses his legs.
That's not even the originals. That's the prequels.
But okay, it doesn't. See, I don't care.
That's the Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
See, I know the first six.
The fact is, I don't care what they're called. I like Darth Vader, but I know the actor's name, and I'm really proud.
Fair
is
enough.
The point.
Fair enough. She did do good. She did do good. So, anyways, Lynn, my week has been busy. There's been a lot going on, but super excited to be here and talk about the subject that we're going to talk about today. It really deals with more relationships with yourself,
and health,
and really mental fitness, mental toughness, and challenges. I think challenging yourself to do different things, healthy outlets is what I like to say. I think that that's important. And that's something that we're going to really focus on today's episode. And so I'm excited to talk about it. But before we get there, it's just, I want to be transparent and say that I continued making some of those adjustments in terms of my fitness and the different things that I said I was going to do these last couple of weeks. I have eaten a little bit better. I have walked a lot more and I have exercised a lot more, but it's not where I want to be. And so when Lynn and I were discussing, so what we do is we have kind of a weekly meeting. We really like to treat not the entirety of our marriage, because I think that there should be, there's a healthy balance there, but we really try to operate in the sense of a business. So we have weekly meetings where we get together and we discuss finances, we discuss goals for the week, how we did, goals for the month, goals for the quarter.
And just our relationship together and with our baby and things we want to work towards in those areas as well. Yep.
So at the beginning of this, or I would say no, it was the very end of last year, we did something different. We added a little bit more to that. And we took a retreat. We went off site for a day and we started planning out our year for 2024. And I would say that we've knocked out a lot of that list that we wanted to do in Q1. There were some things that we didn't make, that didn't make the deadline, and we pushed to Q2, which is what we're in now. And now we're working to meet those deadlines and meet the other goals that we set for Q2. And then it's just a constant making adjustments and well, let me rephrase that. We want to stick to the game plan as much as possible, but when things happen, as life tends to happen, we make those adjustments and make sure that we still put emphasis and priority to them and not just kind of forget about them and say, it is what it is, it's over. Some things are easier than others, I'm not going to lie, because that's what this episode's about.
Yes.
Fitness is one of those that is, fitness and healthy choices is one.
Diet.
Well, diet, healthy choices. It's something that has not been as easy as other things. But anyways, all of that, what we do and what I mean by how we treat our marriage as a business, we'll discuss that at a different time, because that's a huge, broad topic, and there's so much to go into there, so much to break down that we want to share with you guys, things that have worked for us, things that we've learned from others, things that didn't work for us. And so that's a whole different conversation. But I'll get into it a little bit more, but I just want to say it now. I'm not where I want to be in terms of the goals that I set in this podcast a couple of weeks ago and checked in last week in terms of diet and fitness. And so I'll pause there. I'll switch it to you, and I'll ask you how you're doing. How's your week going? And then we'll get into it.
I'm doing good. I'm a little tired. It's been a busy week, but I also am kind of on the same page with Alex, which is why we're having the topic we're talking about today with relationships with health and wellness and fitness and diet overall. I am actually really tired. I feel like this week has been really busy with work and Rhaegar and life, so I think this will be a good, as you said, reset. For me as well. Yeah,
perfect. All right. Well, without let's get into it. I think that we have a lot to talk about, and we want to make sure that we address all of it. So we'll go ahead and get started. Something that I was thinking about, a little bit of a high moment, but something that I was thinking about that I want to work towards is we should have some sort of intro. Like we have an intro, hey, we introduce ourselves, yada, 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 and then we kind of go into a little bit about our week. But, I think it'd be good to create like a mantra. For those of you who may not be familiar with what a mantra is, think of it as words of affirmation, or think of it as what your mission statement is. And so that's something that has kind of been on my heart for a couple of weeks, and I'm not going to lie, I've ignored that kind of urge and itch from God. Laziness, procrastination, you name it. Lynn will...
He's a pro procrastinator. Did you sign those cards?
Yes. One.
I don't believe... One? I gave him 2 Mother's Day cards. I even let him pick. Which ones do you want? Sorry, moms out there that will be getting these.
Listen, I don't know why, and maybe it's an excuse. I don't know. I don't know why, but when it comes to just cards in general, birthday cards, Christmas cards, any kind of card like that.
It can be a sympathy card, guys.
But listen, here, I'll blame it on this. I'll blame it on this. Growing up, we never wrote cards. If we made it, like when we would go to my cousins or aunts or uncles, like birthday parties, and we took a present, we'd put the little sticker, right, that says to and from, and then it'd be Familia Portillo.
But what if you didn't give them a present?
It'd be to whoever, whoever the person was, and then it'd be from Familia Portillo. So that's all we would sign.
But what if you didn't?
And my mom would sign it.
Gift. I've signed for him the first 7 years of our relationship.
So, I'm terrible at doing any kind of card like that.
I told him today, actually, this is great, is discipline. I used to hate making the bed, you guys. Like, the worst chore in the whole world. I hate putting pillowcases on. I feel like it's just fighting me. Like, intentionally.
Because you don't know the trick.
I don't care, because I do it now, no matter, anyway. Every time I get up, the second I'm out of bed, I put Rhaegar in his crib or on the floor or whatever, and I make that bed. And it has really helped me, I feel, because now I'm way more disciplined and I do it, even though you guys, I hated it. The first 8 years of our life, I did not make my bed. Alex would come over and be like, your room's trash, because the bed's always gross and not made.
Exact verbiage, I would say, actually. She's not exaggerating.
So I'm like, that was a tiny thing to start my day to make me be disciplined, and now it's a normal routine.
Yeah.
Well, I told him today, same as me making the bed, sign the freaking cards when I give them to you, and look, Mark that off the box. Success, discipline. How is it so... I understand why it's so hard. It was hard for me to make the bed. But this is like for someone else even. It's not even like a selfish thing. Like making the bed selfish for me now. It's like, wow, my room looks nice. It's good for me. This is like gifting to others. Have the discipline, which will move us into our topic for today, to sign the cards. It's okay. You can say, love you, Alex.
You know the hard...
Like a yearbook. What did they used to abbreviate it?
Or,
see you next year.
Yeah, see you next year.
But there's like an abbreviation one was about summer. I don't even know the abbreviated things, acronyms and stuff, but...
I haven't looked at my yearbook in years, actually, so I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't go
I know what you're
either.
talking about, but I don't remember the acronym.
It's like a yearbook, but cards.
So the funny thing is that, okay, Lynn has argued. She's argued with me. We'll call it what it is. Nagged me. That's probably a better word.
I don't nag.
Hold on. It's not bad. I'm not calling you
out.
out.
The Bible says you don't nag.
I'm not calling you out. Hold on.
Gosh darn it.
She has nagged me and will nag me for the cards, and at some point it just turns into a game for me because I'm just gonna rile her up and I'll sign them like right before we gotta give them up, give them out, or the night before.
It's very rare. It's very rare that it's the day before. It's like the day of, and I'm licking it and I give it to them freshly licked.
But she will. The one thing she has never said to me until today was what she said a little bit ago. Think of the discipline it will teach you, and it's just like me making my better I can't remember exactly how you just said it right now, but when she said those words, she texted them to me, because I was in a different room. I just, actually, I'm not gonna lie to you, I got a little irritated, and I put my phone down, and then when I realized that I got irritated, after putting my phone down, that's when I realized, okay, I need to change some habits, and I need to change some behaviors. Aww. Because that's, she's right.
I said it very nicely.
She did. She wasn't rude about it, and I'm not trying to call you out or make it seem like she called me out.
But I think I just, 11 years, kind of tired of him saying, I'll sign him later.
Yeah, so she hit me in the ego. She gave me the good old ego check, is what I'm trying to say.
I'll always sign for you if you really don't want to sign them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She can forge my signature, apparently, so.
I can, actually. I do all of our receipts when
Well, now we have it on. Now, listen, we have it on record. If something like an extra life insurance policy comes out right before I mysteriously pass away,
gosh.
Now we know.
That'd be horrible.
Now we know, okay, that it's on record, all right? It's on record. Saved forever. Anyways, Let's get into it. So, Lynn, first before... Actually, no. We'll get right into it, and then I'll ask you the question. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a challenge that we've done in the past, and you've kind of heard.
And we talked about it before.
Yep, we talked about it early on. I think in one of the first two episodes.
But we also talked about it in our other podcast too.
Oh, because we were doing it around that time. Yeah, when we were hosting the Anime Note podcast, we were doing this challenge. You may know what I'm about to say. You may not, but we're actually gonna start the 75 Hard Challenge again. 75 Hard was developed by Andy Frisella. Again, I mentioned him before. We love listening to his podcast, Real AF. And he developed, him and his brother first formed the supplement company, and he's founded a whole bunch of other different things, or has a whole bunch of different companies. But one of the programs he developed is 75 Hard, and it's a mental fitness, mental fortitude training program that really drives discipline and commitment and no excuses, no wavering, no, BS. If you fail, and you start all over again. I hate to say this, I really do, because I want to build the discipline that I have in cold plunging. I think I'm at day 133 days of cold plunging. I've plunged every single day since the beginning of the year, and I think I talked about this earlier, right, is that I hated to be the cliche of I did it at the beginning of January 1st. I actually started like 2 or 3 weeks before that, but I didn't realize that there was 2 days that I had missed, and so obviously they don't count, so I restarted. And it's not that I'm doing any kind of challenge with cold plunging, it's just I ended up really liking it. It helps me kind of reset when I get home from work, or it helps me start my day if I do it first thing in the morning. It's just, it's like a small task that doesn't take a lot of time. And I kind of like what you were saying, I mark it off the checklist, and it starts making me feel good. I start winning the day. I start you know, start on that positive track. So I started, I've said this here, if I could apply everything that I've learned in cold plunging and the discipline in cold plunging in every aspect of my life, I would be way more successful than what I am right now. And so I'm tired of playing games. I want to start making those changes. And what I was going to say, what I hate to say, is that sometimes it takes a challenge. Because when I did 75 hard the first time, I thankfully, I didn't, I love you, don't get hurt. I didn't fail. I did the all the requirements for 75 days and 25 days more, because Lynn at day 24 missed one of the items and had to restart all over.
You guys, it was the worst one. The easiest one to miss too. It was Easter, and our friend was visiting us in Texas, so we had a fun day planned, and we had brunch, so I was dressed up all nice in a dress and heels and everything, and I didn't take my photo. That was all it was. And I didn't realize it until the end of the day, like the next morning. Yeah. So I had already drank my gallon, read my pages. Like, we're going to go through, like, the rules and everything. I did everything. Yeah. Except take my photo. And when we went to take the photo the next day, we're all standing there ready. And I pull up my phone, and I didn't have a photo the day before. You guys, I cried. She did. Because 25 days is a third of the way through.
Yeah, it's almost a month in.
It's a third of the way through. And it is a hard challenge, which why I think it's going to be even harder now with the new dynamics of us having a baby and stuff. But I was so disappointed. And I started over, and Alex continued it extra just to keep doing it with me. Yeah. So we could do the workouts together. Yeah,
and because she didn't want to do the challenge. Like, she had no interest in it. I came home, talked about it. One of my friends had mentioned it to me, so I did a little bit of research, listened to the podcast episode from Real AF where Andy talks about it, and I was like, you know what? I want to do it. I want to try something. I want to challenge myself. Ever since I tore my ACL the first time and I came back from rehab and was cleared, I told myself I wanted to challenge myself in ways that I never had in the past. Just to say that for me, really, it's for my own, call it selfishness, call ego, call it pride, call whatever, but I just want to challenge myself. And that's something that I thrive off of. I like to be competitive. I am competitive.
He thrives in discomfort.
I thrive in discomfort. And so, unfortunately, sometimes, most of the time, I should say, if I'm not in some sort of challenge or competing with someone or something or chasing something, it's very easy for me to come back and be in discomfort or fall into the comfort and forget everything that I had already worked for. Think about it. So 75 hard, 75 days. It's a 75-day long program. I did 25 more days, so I did 100 hard. And the very first thing that we did once Lynn completed is we celebrated. We, not immediately, because we were eating pretty clean, and so we wanted to kind of, not that we were going to break it immediately or that wasn't the goal. It really just ended up happening. We had pizza, I think, like the third day.
Yeah.
And then after that, drinks. Yeah, we had some alcoholic beverages, and then we had pizza, and then we had like burgers, and then Chinese, before you know it, it just kind of like went downhill. And really what we discovered that first week, and please hold me honest, is at first that food did not taste right. Like,
it wasn't as good as we remembered.
Yeah, it wasn't satisfying.
It was disappointing.
It was disappointing. It was not satisfying. That pizza, which I love pizza, it's probably one of my favorite foods. It did not taste good. And as time continued going on, and at this time we weren't pregnant, but as time continued going on, we just kind of fell back into the comfort. Like, there was nothing, I didn't have the mental fortitude enough and the mental toughness enough developed to say, you know what, this is my lifestyle now. This is what we're going to do moving forward. We're not going to waver. We're not going to go back to old habits. I fell back. Once the program ended, I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing it for anything. Like, it's over. It's done. And shortly after, I went back to old behavior. And in fact, I waited 30 days because the whole Live Hard program is a total of 5 phases. It's the 75 Hard program, which is the intro phase. Then there's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and that completes the Live Hard program, and it takes about a year, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, in between 75 hard and phase 1, you're supposed to take a 30-day break. And then at day 31, you pick up phase 1 and you start it all over again.
Oh, okay.
And so I tried that.
Extra steps.
And that's when it has some extra steps. I tried that. I said, okay, you know what? This is 100% ego and cockiness. I said, oh, this is going to be easy. I just did it for 100 days. I'll be fine. 30 days after, and I started, and I failed after day 2.
Yeah,
I failed phase 1 after day 2. I restarted it again, and I failed, I think, after day 4.
And wasn't what you failed, the thing he's been talking about on working on is the to-do, like the top 3 things you need to get done, and then mark them off?
I failed on 2 things. One of them, yes, it was the list.
Mm-hmm.
Writing 10 items I think it's 10 items that you're going to do that day. At the beginning of the day, not throughout the day, right? You fill out your action items of 10 things you're going to do, and then mark them off throughout the day, and you have to complete all 10 items.
So a to-do list.
A to-do list, basically. And then the other one was a 5-minute cold shower, which now I take ice baths, so that's pretty.
So funny. That's
that's pretty easy. So I failed on both of those.
Wow.
And yeah, so I did it once, failed, did it again, failed, and not gonna lie, my confidence dropped. I said, "This is dumb. I'm done." And
we always say something stupid or dumb, or we don't like it, or it's not necessary when it's something too hard for us to do, or we don't want to be challenged by it.
That's it. Podcast over. She said it the best way. So that's just I'm discovering, and I've known, I should say, and I'm embracing it, that when I can't even repeat it because you said it pretty well. You said it perfectly. So when things get hard and we quit, we look for any excuse to deflect it to blame someone else, blame that thing. So that way we're not taking the accountability, and then we feel better saying, oh, well, it was too hard. It was that person's fault, or I couldn't do this.
Like,
or
why do you need to do this? Doesn't matter in life or something. Like,
exactly.
Didn't you send me that video about money? Where, I don't know, maybe
I
saw it. Maybe I just saw it. I don't scroll through the short videos often, but I saw one video about people saying, or maybe Andy Frisella said it, about how people don't, like people who are poor, they make all these excuses of, oh, like money doesn't make you happy, money doesn't do this.
Yeah, it was.
But the people who are rich aren't just willing to they're not just giving up their money and being poor.
Yeah.
If money doesn't make them happy. Like, no, they're still keeping their wealth.
Yeah.
There's a reason for it. And the people who don't have money, we're an example, we want to get up to that like status to where we're comfortable and have money. And excuses, that's too much work. We don't need it. We don't need money to be happy. We have our baby. Like, it's the same kind of thing when it comes to fitness. Any kind of hard thing. Like, why do we need to be able to run 5 miles? Like, that's not necessary in life. Like, just enjoy your life. You never know if you're going to live the next day, that sort of thing.
Agreed.
It's a bad perspective if you want to have any success.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true. And it was Andy who said it in one of his podcasts.
I wasn't sure.
And in fact, Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street. I haven't read the book, but I saw the movie. Great movie. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah,
great job. But he says, in his monologue, in his motivation speech to his staff. Monologue, okay. He says, I've been a rich man and I've been a poor man, and I choose rich every blank time.
Yeah.
And so it's true. I mean, I saw another video the other day that said, everything that you were just saying, but yet you hear that any poor person would trade lives with any rich person, but you would never see a rich person trade lives with a poor person. And we're not, really, we're not bagging on anything or anyone, but we're just using these as examples to highlight as to why, what happens when something happens or something that is too difficult and we don't accomplish it, or we don't get to do it. And we quit.
Or you failed and you don't try again.
Yep.
We come up with those excuses of why we don't need to keep going after it.
Correct. Perfect. Okay, so then let's go ahead and talk about 75 Hard, what the program is for those of you who have never heard about it or never done it. This is another thing that is going to kind of force me to do. Last episode, I said that I was going to start focusing more on the social media on our page, and I haven't. I'm not going to lie, I haven't. No excuse. I've been lazy. I've been procrastinating it. There it is. We're going to be documenting it. I'm going to be documenting it on our NV Growth Instagram page. And if you're interested, all of this will be on the description. But if you're interested, jump on this journey with us, it'd be awesome to start this, start this together. We're not going to give you a lot of time to prepare because that's another thing that I think is important. When Lynn and I started talking about this week of when we were going to do it, I was like, oh, well, I have this coming up. I have this trip coming up, this business trip coming up. We should just wait till I return. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, no, because then that's just and then she's like, oh, well, your birthday's coming up too. Should we wait after that? I'm like, no, now
so now it was just
now we're just waiting.
stacking.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the right opportunity to do it.
where it's going to be easiest.
Yeah, we just need to do it. We just need to do it. And I hate to say that we're going to start on a Monday, but we're going to start on Monday. So it's only a couple.
That's when we post the episodes.
It's only a couple of days, right? So we're not giving you a lot of heads up. If you listen to this episode on Monday and you want to start Monday, then that's when you're going to start.
That's when we're starting.
But if you want to start Tuesday or Wednesday, then that's fine. If you want to join us, start whenever you want to join.
But don't think about it too much because then you're going to get scared and chicken out. So if you want to start it and you're thinking about it, just try it. It does not hurt to try and fail. I failed the first time.
She did.
So.
I love you. But you didn't. No, I'm just kidding.
I did. Oh, I was so sad, you guys. And that's how you know I did not want to do this challenge at all. Mm-hmm. I did not when we first did it. I thought it was stupid. I was using excuses because I honestly, throughout the thing, the hardest part was not being able to drink during, for me. So it was really hard for me to do the challenge. And then the fact that I cried after failing shows how invested I got in it. So I think that's really important.
I personally thought she was not going to redo it. I was like, okay, well, I'm flying solo from now on. And I was fine. I was cool with it. It was I was going to be sad because I enjoyed her doing it with me or us doing it together. But, it is what it is. But I asked her immediately. I was like, hey, are you going to restart? And she's like, I can't even think about it right now. I need a moment.
Yeah, I had like a weekend break right before I started it because I know I had some drinks right after.
No, I think 2 days.
Yeah, it was like a weekend because I failed on Sunday.
So then you didn't fail on day 24, then you failed at day 22.
17 or something.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Because I know that I went up to 100 days, and it was when you were done.
He did a lot, yeah. So whatever it was, I took like a 5-day break actually, I think, and then started on the weekend. Alex was gone. I think you had like a trip.
I did. Yeah.
So you left right after our friend left. Yeah. And so I just was alone and sad. So I was eating not good food and I was drinking.
Yeah.
And then when he came back, I was like, okay, I'm going to start again.
Yeah.
And that's when I committed. But the fact that I was so upset that I failed shows that just in that short amount of time, the 4 weeks of me doing it, I was committed, and it had changed me already. Because I didn't want to do it to begin with, and then I was crying because I failed just not taking the photo. And before, I was like, this is stupid. I don't care. But I started to care because I started seeing changes.
Yeah. No, it's good. I'm glad to hear that, because we never really talked about it. You just said, hey, I'm going to redo it, and I wasn't sure what questions to ask because I knew that you were all upset about it.
Upset.
I didn't want to make it seem like I didn't want her to start second guessing things. So I was just like, okay, cool. Like I'm here to support you. And that's when I told you I'll actually finish my 75, but I'll continue going until you're done. We'll cross this finish line together. So yeah, I appreciate you giving me that insight. I had no idea. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what the rules of 75 hard are. I mentioned before, look, there's more space on my table than there is at Lynn's side, so I'm a little better prepared. Yes. So let's do this. This is actually my workout journal too, where I keep log of my workouts and stuff.
And if you see the front of it, is the motivation for working out is Dragon Ball Z here, because Vegeta is his inspiration.
Yep, although this is Goku's symbol, but...
Yeah, but they don't have Vegeta symbols on anything, because Goku's always the one everyone likes the best.
I got it. There was the orange one and the blue one, and if you watch Dragon Ball, you know Vegeta rocks the blue, so that's why I got the blue. Okay, so 75 hard. There's a couple of rules to it. Again, I mentioned that this is 70. You have to do this for 75 days. So first thing you need to do is you need to do 2 workouts a day, minimum of a 45-minute workout each.
And they have to be 2 hours apart.
And they have to be 2 hours apart. One has to be outside. So let me break that down a little bit better because I think that was a little jumbled. So rules are you have to do 2 workouts. Both have to be at least 45 minutes long. One has to be outside. And they have to be a minimum of 2 hours apart. You can't do it back to back.
Yeah, so you can't just wake up, go on a walk, and then come home and do abs.
And then do a workout inside. It doesn't work that way. Next thing you need to do is you need to follow a diet. It could be any diet you choose, as long as it's a structured diet. with improvement in mind. The
You
goal
have
is to improve.
stick to it.
And you have to stick to it for the full 75 days. You have to drink a gallon of water. This actually was the hardest part at the beginning.
It was the hardest one for him. He struggled. He would be chugging at 11:30 at night.
It was terrible.
And then he'd be sick.
The first 2 weeks was a hard adjustment, but then after that, I can drink a gallon of water easily now.
Yeah, then your body just is like, oh yeah, we need this water.
No alcohol or cheat meals. That should be easy for us. No alcohol. We haven't.
The alcohol part was really hard for me when we first did the challenge, but since I've been sober for so long now,
And that's
a
something, I don't mean to pivot, but that's something I want us to discuss a different time.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn has been sober for over a year, and I've been sober for 7 months.
Since I got pregnant, so 18 and a half months.
Yeah, and so...
To the day, almost.
Yeah, it's been great. Before the 7 month, I think I went like 5 months without drinking, and I felt great, and then I hung out with some friends, and I had like a couple beers, and so I broke that, but... then once Lynn, went sober, she said she didn't want to drink anymore. It took me a little bit of time to adjust because she's way ahead of me. But then I realized the importance of supporting my wife and the importance of how I felt being sober. And so that's why we made the decision to not drink anymore. So that should be easy for us. But like I said, I want us to talk about that at a different time. Okay, so no alcohol or cheat meals. Read 10 pages of a self-development book. That's key. You can't sit there. Or nonfiction. You can't sit there and read The Magic Tree House.
Okay? Or Harry Potter or anything fun like that.
I know you love the Magic Tree House book series or Goosebumps, but that does not count. Self-development or nonfiction. Yeah. 10 pages a day, and sorry, my audio listeners, no audiobooks are allowed.
Because that's not discipline if you're just doing chores while you're listening. That's like watching a YouTube video.
Yep.
Or listening to a podcast. Not the same.
Yep. So that's it. Read 10 pages, no audiobook, self-development, nonfiction. And then the last one, take a progress picture.
Which is the hardest one for me, apparently, because I failed because I didn't take that picture.
But, there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different requirements that you have to do daily. And you have to do these every single day. If you fail one, as we've mentioned a couple times already, you have to restart. From
day 1. You can be on day 73, and if you forget to take that progress photo, you start back at day 1.
Yep.
That's what it means by start over.
Yep.
Completely start over.
She's very passionate about that, so I'm not even going to interrupt her. She can just go on your rant there.
Well, I feel like people think, I just have to do it the next day, and then I have to start over that day, so I still am on 73. No.
You start on day 1.
You have to start from day 1.
Yep. And what Andy and his team, they made it very easy for you. There's a 75 Hard app that has a whole Live Hard program. What did you said it was $6 now?
$6.99. Yeah, I just got it. I didn't have it the first time because I wasn't as into it, but this time I chose to do it.
I made her download it. I was like, I think it's gonna save you a headache because it will remind you if you forgot something. To check if you forgot to check off something. So she got it. I did it last time. It was wonderful. It archives everything for me.
Oh yeah, you were able to take screenshots, and that's how
I posted them on social media just for accountability. But cool. All right, so those are the rules. 275 Hard. Again, you start from day 1, 75 days straight. You have to do this. No cheat meals, no wavering, no lying. You have to be disciplined. It's an honor system basically, right? And then if you pass it, then you can buy one of these. Lynn bought me this.
Yes, I did.
So Lynn bought me this as a present, as a surprise, and I feel bad because I didn't even know that this was a thing, so I didn't buy her one. But...
I didn't need one. I failed. I don't deserve one.
But you did pass it.
I did.
So she got me the 75 Hard challenge coin. On the front, it has the 75 Hard emblem. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then on the back, it has it says 0 options. Confidence, self-esteem, grit, fortitude, self-worth, discipline, self-belief, 0 compromises, right? So you can't compromise on this program. The whole point of it is more of a mental fitness program, mental fitness challenge versus a physical.
Like you're going to notice results physically because you're working out twice a day, but when we were doing it the first time, our second workout was walks with our dogs in the evening. So it's not like you have to go out and do strenuous weightlifting and then crazy cardio each day. It's more that you're disciplined and you're just getting out there and being physical. So you can do a yoga stretching ab workout. You can go on a walk. Like I'll definitely be going on walks for one of mine with Rhaegar for sure.
Springtime now in summer.
It's really nice out, and just finding that balance with the baby. It's going to be a little different than being able to just hop in the gym every day.
Agreed.
But it's the discipline of you just being active, not really just you're going to see massive results of fitness when you're done. Yep. It's all mental.
Yep.
The whole thing is mental.
It is. It's a big challenge. It definitely mentally challenged me many times. As Lynn mentioned, the first 2 weeks with the water part was rough. I'd be lying to you if there wasn't thoughts of me quitting throughout the program, but I learned a lot through it, and we're going to talk about that right now, so you know what, let's just get into it. Lynn, one thing that I do want us to discuss is the why. Why are you interested in doing 75 hard? Because you surprised me. I had been talking about this for a couple of weeks. I said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I don't know if I'm going to do it. And here I go, second guessing it, questioning it. And then finally this weekend was just kind of this week, I should say, was kind of the moment where I'm like, you know what? I realize that I just keep saying I want to get better, but I'm not taking any action. I have all the knowledge, I have the skills, I know I have the talent, I know I have the confidence to do great things, but I'm not applying the knowledge, right? There's a saying that says knowledge is power, but I would argue that it's applied knowledge is power, because you can have all the knowledge in the world. If you don't apply it, what good does it do you? It doesn't serve you any purpose. So you have to apply the knowledge that you gain. And so that's one of my whys. But I will ask you first, we talked about this weekend and we have it written down for accountability for our end, but what is your why? Why do you want to do 75 hard?
I definitely won't say it word for word, because when I told him, I was a little passionate and upset. So there's some foul words in it.
You can just blank it out.
But I've had some health, not scares or issues.
Call it what it is.
I just get stressed.
No, call it what it is.
I get nervous when something looks bad, and I stress out on health. So I had some weird blood tests that they turned out to be fine, but it's still something I want to keep an eye on. I've been having some stomach issues, which still looking into that and making sure everything's okay. But it just made me feel like get to that point of, why am I taking my life for granted and not doing what I need to do to be a better wife to him, be a better mom to Rhaegar, show Rhaegar what our morals and values are. Like, I don't want him to just be lazy sitting around all the time. I don't want him to see that and experience us just watching TV all the time, sitting on our phones. We want to be outside doing stuff. I'm tired of being lazy. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm lazy. Yeah. I do a lot every day, but change my priorities around on what's most important. So I think health should be one of the top priorities on there. Obviously before like God and you and my son and stuff, but like not before you guys. But I haven't been prioritizing my health. I'll eat healthy for a little bit, then crave bad foods, want that. I've been eating a lot of sugar, which is making me crave more sugar. I need sugar so bad. I want to get that out of there. And so overall, I just want to make sure that I'm a good example for my son. I'm helping support my husband if he's struggling to lead us with the fitness and health stuff like he's been saying with discipline, then it's my job to step up and try to help that too. So if I'm doing it, he'll also do it, and then he'll take lead and help all of us, which I think is also really important. So I'm just tired of not feeling my best. After having a baby, I actually got into shape pretty quickly. We were really disciplined, right? All throughout the pregnancy, we were really good about working out consistently. Even after having the baby, we still went on walks all the time, ate pretty darn well, because I actually had a really, really strict diet with nursing, because I didn't want my diet to impact Rhaegar because he was nursing. So once he got better and was eating more real foods and stuff like that, that's when my diet really started to go downhill, because I'm like, oh yay, I can eat whatever I want now because it's not impacting my baby. So that selfishness kind of came in, and that's where I really started losing the diet part. So overall, my why, be a better example for Rhaegar, support you, and to stop being lazy and just be better for myself.
Cool. I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, I think that that's important, and it really ties into a couple of things of what my whys are. And really, I'll build off of what you said there towards the end. I recognize this in my heart. I know it, I believe it, I feel it. And biblically, right, we've talked about this before, about the man leading the house and leading the family into prosperity and just good habits. I take that very seriously. I want to make sure that I saw this quote, I saw this, was it a reel? And it hit me hard. It said, I want to be the man that my son or my children believe I am. Because I remember growing up, and I've talked about my dad. My dad's my hero, and seeing my dad, and I remember to this day, like, my dad is a superhero. My dad can't be beaten. My dad can take on anyone. And not saying that he's not that to me. I still look at him that way. But I want my son to look at me that way as well. I want him to believe that I can do anything and really instill those values of challenging yourself, be disciplined, be consistent, work hard, go through adversity, don't quit. Like, those are the things that I want to instill in my son and in any future children that God blesses us with. So I want to be that leader that I know I need to be. And I'm tired of feeling the way I feel. I'm tired of feeling like I'm just kind of in a what's called in a rut, or that I start and I fail and then I quit. Like, this is a cycle, yeah. But this is a, I could go on and on about this, but I'll condense it this way. In school, one of my favorite stories to share, in college, math was not my strong suit, is not my strong suit. Mainly because I just found it boring. I never understood it. I didn't take the time to understand it. And so it was just a subject that I dreaded. In college, I was stuck in pre-remedial, if that even makes sense, pre-remedial math. And I failed it twice to get to remedial math. Failed the first level of remedial math, Math 95, twice. Then I got to Math 96, which is level 2 of remedial math. And I failed that one once. And then I passed, and then I made it to Math 120, I think it was 121, which is college level math. I failed that twice, yeah.
Yeah.
And passed that. Made it to Math 181, which is calculus. So for the first ones were pre-calc, this is calculus. Which I didn't even need for the degree that I graduated in, but the other degree that I wanted to dual major, needed it. So I was like, you know what? If I make that decision, then I'm done with my math. Let me do it. Failed that one twice. Passed it on the third time. So you would have thought that, what would that be? 3-4 years of math, 3 years just in remedial math, I would have quit. And I didn't. I remember to this day feeling defeated when I got the fail, the F on my test or my final grades. But then I would pick myself right back up and say, you know what? I'm going to try again next year. But the thing is, the reason why I failed so long is because I was under the false belief that if I don't work hard, eventually I'll just get it done. And it wasn't until I realized, like, no, I actually have to apply myself and learn and ask questions. And if I don't understand, meet with the TA, meet with the professor, that then I started understanding it. And actually, and Lynn can be a test. I actually got a higher score than her in the calculus.
Calculus is hard.
And so for me, that was a big deal because she's really good at math. And I ended up loving math. Like, math is something that I absolutely love now. And so I just needed to make that adjustment and look at it from a different perspective. So anyways, I like to share that story because if I have failed that much in one subject and it did not deter me, then what has happened to me these next decade that I grew up? And now I'm afraid to try different things. Or now as soon as I fail, I get defeated, or I get in a rut, or I get, whatever. So I sit there and I analyze and I'm like, well, what has happened to me? I used to be so, I don't care to fail. I'm just going to try. And then at some point in my life, I got scared. And so I want to break that. In fact, the Bible tells us, don't be afraid. There's so many times that the Bible tells us, that God tells us, that Jesus tells us not to be afraid. And we are. For whatever reason, we get paralyzed in analysis, we get paralyzed in fear, we get paralyzed in the unknown. And I'm no exception to that. Lynn can call me out on this all day. But I want to be disciplined in the other areas of my life and not in all the areas of my life, not just the other, in all areas of my life, and take what I've learned from cold plunging into this challenge, into this lifestyle, and make it just that. Make it a lifestyle. I always looked at fitness like health fitness as, you know, a diet or you work out here and there. Like I never looked at it as a lifestyle. It wasn't until one of my friends told me, like, who's a huge gym, you know, guru and loves the gym and eats healthy and everything. It wasn't until he told me, like, hey, you can't look at this as a diet. You have to look at this as a lifestyle. Like this is what you're choosing your life to be for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. And when he said that, that clicked for me. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Now, have I been honest or have I honored that? No, obviously not, because we're what we just said these last here. 40 minutes and we're here, right? So, but I recognize that and I want to get better and I want to make the improvement. And I firmly believe that it doesn't matter how many times you fall and get knocked down, it's how you get back up. You got to continue to get back up mm-hmm. and continue persevering if it's something that you want. Lynn touched upon it already. We're God, you know, praise to God, we're not poor, but we're also not where we want to be. And mm-hmm. so I need to be, you know, set those right examples in my family and set the good structure and set the good discipline and lead us in the direction that we want to go to attain the lifestyle that we want to attain. I said this before. If you want to be in a circle of high value, high influential, high driven people, become a high driven, high value, high influential person yourself, mm-hmm. and then you will attract those people. They're not going to let you in their circle if you're just a mediocre person, or if you're just lazy, or if you're procrastinating, or, you know, all these other things.
Because those people bring you down.
They're going to bring you down. Yeah. So you want to make that change. If you want those people in your life, you have to make that change, and you have to become that person. Mm-hmm. You will find those people, I promise you.
Yeah. And that's what we're trying. We want to be better. We felt like we were doing so good. We were the healthiest we've mm-hmm. ever been right after that 75 hard challenge. And then we were comfortable, you know, having a baby because we were healthy and stuff. And we want to make sure we're taking those steps to continue that health, to teach that down to our family generationally, to leave that legacy too. That's really important, because if we're working on being successful, it's not going to matter if that's not passed down, because it's just going to last for us. The point is to keep it going, and we want to instill those values now, and we have to be disciplined enough to do it first.
Correct.
Otherwise, Rhaegar is just going to want to eat McDonald's every day, and that's bad.
No, and that's okay. I'm glad you said that, because we have been bad. We have had fast food. We have had In-N-Out. We have had, you know, different fast foods. And now Rhaegar is starting to notice, like, what we eat, he wants to eat. Yeah. And I told Lynn, before he was even born, we knew we were not going to introduce him to that kind of food. Mm-hmm. We didn't want to use that as a shortcut. That was a non-negotiable for us. And it hit me the other day when, you know, a couple weeks back when now he's following us and wanting to eat what we eat. I looked at Lynn, I'm like, how much of a hypocrites can we be that we are not going to allow him to eat that, yet we're eating it in front of his face because we know he's not going to remember this. Yeah. So I told her, I was like, no, we can't do that anymore. We have to change our lifestyle, and we have to lead by example now, set the foundation now, because if we set a poor foundation, for those of you who know housing, construction, I'm no expert, so I'm not saying, I am, but I know enough to say this, that if the foundation is not solid, the house will crumble. Yeah. Eventually you build so high that if your foundation is not deep enough, it's going to fall, right? So we have to set the foundation now, and set the good roots and set the good examples and lead by example. Set that good hard foundation. That way, as we build,
it gets stronger.
It just continues to stay stronger.
Yeah, because if we don't have that solid foundation of values and morals that we want to pass on to Rhaegar, that's where he will, when it's his time to make his own decisions and go out in the world and experience stuff, if it's not solid from us at home, then that's where that wavers, and that's where you see kids going against their parents and the lifestyle they grew up with, because, they go to church, but only sometimes. Like, do I even believe in God? That sort of thing. Like, that's just an example, but that's where kids start having those questions, because they don't have that solid home life of set values, because the parents aren't going to be disciplined, and we want to stop doing that now, because that's what we've been doing with our diet. Is we eat healthy for a little bit, then we have a cheat meal, unhealthy meal, and then he sees that I'm a sucker for that stuff. I'm gonna have to find healthy ways, but we want to set that up for success now, while he doesn't really remember much, but he's learning so much he can absorb it. So that's kind of why you want to make sure we have that foundation.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. So talking about that, let's kind of transition into this next part of for transparency, for accountability purposes, we want to share kind of what we're going to do with our diet And books, I have some of the books here that I plan on reading. Lynn has some of them. This might be a little ambitious because I got 4 books in here, but there's actually 2 more that I want to read. That if I get through 2 of them, I will order the other 2 because I want to read them. But we'll talk about that right now.
We have a book problem too. We just like having books.
So,
I'm working on giving them away slowly.
yeah, she has way more books than I do. But that's not bad. That's not bad. Although majority of your books are fiction.
They are fiction. I enjoy good fiction, but you learn a lot from characters.
Yeah.
What was
You're telling me?
Movies can teach us about life.
We started a podcast.
Said Aggie Cromwell.
Oh, okay, fair. That's true.
Debbie Reynolds, Carrie Fisher's mom.
Hold on. We started a podcast dedicated to talking about the life lessons that shows, movies, and just really anime teaches us. Mm-hmm. So you're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure.
All right. Perfect. So where is it? Oh, right here. Okay. So diet. What diet plan are you following?
I want to do, I guess Alex called it the ancestral diet, but focusing more on whole foods, no processed sugars, preservatives, additives, that sort of thing. So, like, I guess when you're going in the grocery store, you walk in, produce, dairy, meat.
Yep, just the outside.
Just the outside.
None of the aisles.
Nothing in the aisles. That's my goal. I'm also have a garden that I'm growing, so hopefully gonna harvest stuff there. We have peppers, tomatoes, carrots, jalapenos. We're trying broccoli and cabbage, but the animals have liked that a lot too. So we'll see what grows. But we have a bunch of different things: potatoes, onions, garlic out there. So that will be a good basis because I also want to focus on eating seasonally, which I think is really healthy for our bodies and for the environment in general. So what we can grow is what we'll eat. Then I'll preserve stuff what we have, and then have natural canned goods. Make natural jams with honey instead of white sugar, that sort of thing, was what I'll be focused on in the diet.
Good. Perfect. Yeah, so, she excuse me, you're doing the ancestral diet, which is what I'm doing as well, aka I call it AKA God's food, right?
I like that.
So we want to eat more the food that God has called us to eat, the food that we grow, the food that we harvest. We're hunters, right? We're fishermen, fisherwomen. We're fishers. There we go. Is that
Fishers of men.
There we go.
Just kidding.
Anyways,
that's Simon.
we tend to harvest our own wild meat, or fish for our own wild meat, and so that's the kind of lifestyle that we want to live and lead. Call it what's it called? You said a homesteader's lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's something that we like to do, that we thrive, that we envision in doing. I think is the right way of saying. Hey, envision. That's the right way of saying that. So, for me, it's also that we don't want to. We want to limit our processed sugar. You already mentioned that. Additives, preservatives. If we can it, because that's something that you want to practice this year, is what we grew in the spring and summer. Is can it, preserve it for
but that's
the
like
fall.
Pressure canning. Yeah. So I'm preserving it with really high pressure and water. Whereas a lot of the stuff you get in the store, that's the preservatives to make it last longer. It can last on the shelf in the fridge and stuff for months and months due to chemicals, which we don't want.
Correct. Yeah. So we want to live more of, it's called the ancestral carnivore diet for a reason. We want to go back to what our ancestors lived off of, how they lived, how they ate, really in terms of diet. Yeah. Because I believe, I have no science to back this up. I don't have a doctorate degree in that sense, but I believe that if you eat the food that God calls food or intended for us, that we grow, that we harvest, no chemicals, no preservatives, no additives, none of that, you will live a healthier lifestyle. Yeah. When I did the carnivore, and I did pretty much just any animal byproduct. So I found this out actually while I was doing the research on the ancestral diet, is that the carnivore, and if I read correctly and I investigated correctly, is just meat, like animal meat, no fish.
Yeah,
if you
that's
include that's the seafood carnivore diet. If you include the fish, but I just did the way I was doing it is just animal byproducts. So pork, beef, turkey, elk, deer, fish,
Dairy.
Anything that dairy. What else? Salt, pepper was really all my seasonings.
It was pretty
No
simple.
veggies, no bread, no fruit. And I did that for 31 days, and I felt great. Like, I had a lot of energy. I lost like 20 pounds in that time frame. No, I was like 18. Yeah, I was like 18 pounds in that time frame, and I felt really good. But I do like vegetables. I do like fruit. So
I think we should be able to have fruit. It's natural that you can grow it and survive.
Just not as much, not in moderation, because
not spike your blood sugar with it.
Exactly. So that's kind of the approach that I'm taking it. It's still the ancestral diet, the AKA God's food, as I said. But more so for me is going to be more carnivore based,
more meat heavy than me. I'll be probably more veggie fruit heavy than. I mean, I do love good steak and meat and stuff, but I just have always liked veggies and fruit a lot. And I will be having bread, but only the sourdough that I make, because that's fermented, healthy. I make it with organic, unenriched flour. So I might experiment to play with some of the ancestral
recipes,
grains, the ancient grains, which would be kind of cool to try. But I keep it very, very healthy the way I make my sourdough. So it's literally just simple sourdough starter, some organic salt, water, flour.
Perfect.
So.
No, I like that. I think that'll be good. Okay, so then let's real quickly talk about what we would consider cheat meals. We'll transition to books and then land this plane because we got to get going to the fight. So cheat meals. For me, cheat meals would be fast food. Bread. I'm actually gonna stay away from bread.
He's not gonna have any
for this challenge,
and I won't make any sweet cinnamon sugar bread for you.
Thank you.
That's mean.
Appreciate that. No snacks like Goldfish, Cheez-Its, chips, things like that.
Processed,
like that's processed
items
stuff. Yeah.
that you get are in little individual baggies and boxes from the store.
And I'm really gonna limit. I'm not gonna force myself to like not eat, because I do love like mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna limit the amount of carb intake that is not out of like fruits or veggies. So that's my game plan.
Yeah. I mean, potatoes aren't really seasonal, right? I mean, they're seasonal now, but in the summer when we'll be doing this, they're not as seasonal. So it's more of a winter seasonal food. So you can stay away from it for a little.
Fair enough. Even better.
Yeah. Mine's the same. It's processed foods, processed sugars.
No deep fried food either.
Yeah. So fast food. We're not going to be using the heavy oils and stuff like that.
Perfect. All right. Cool. Books. Let's transition to books. What books are you planning on reading?
So I'm planning on doing Permission to Screw Up and 8 Dimensions of a Leadership. These are workbooks to help me be a better leader in my job. So I thought these would be good ones to start. I'm actually doing a book club at my work for this, so that will be a good way to keep me disciplined in reading that. And then I might try, depending on if I finish these. 75 days is a long time, so you get through books pretty quickly, especially self-help ones and nonfiction, because they're shorter than fiction. I'll probably do David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me if I finish those two.
Nice. Perfect. Were you going to do UOU?
Maybe.
Okay, so I'll talk about those.
You can talk about it.
So for me, she's a way faster reader than I am, but when I get in a book, I can easily dedicate 2-3 hours to it, no problem. So I'm really...
Well, I have a baby, so I'm going to find time to read my 10 pages.
You make it seem like I don't have a baby, but I guess in a sense you do more with him than I do. I will say that.
I have a lot of other tasks besides a baby and work
nursing
on top of that.
Nursing him. Okay, so for me, Killing Sacred Cows, this book is kind of a financial book to improve my financial literacy. We read Rich Dad, Poor Dad as a book club, actually with my brother and sister, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
But that's something that I want to improve on, is just my financial literacy to make better financial decisions for our family. So that's the first book that I'm going to be reading. After that, Lynn mentioned Can't Hurt Me. This is a book that I started, and when I say started, I think I read like one chapter a couple years back, and I did not finish it. Sad. Yeah. And it's because there you go. Never finished is a second book, so that's just fitting. Wow. So I need to read this, and then I want to read Never Finished, which, like I said, is a second book. This one came out I think 2 years ago. And I've heard it's good, so I want to read that. I love David Goggins. I love the motivation and kind of what he stands for and what he does. So he really pushes and challenges himself. And that I like that. It helps me realize that I need to stop feeling sorry for myself and just get after it because no one's going to come do it for me, right? And then the last one, you've heard me talk about Dr. Eric Thomas many times. He's kind of a mentor. We've gone through, well, he is one of our mentors. We've done his year-long training program with him, and that's how we've met really great friends that we have now.
We've gone to conferences where he speaks.
Yeah, we've seen him live. I've seen him live 3 times. I did his speakers program, so I'm a certified speaker through his program. What else? Yeah, I mean, so this is one of his books, his latest book that he released, and it became a New York Times bestseller. So I want to finish this book. This was another one that I started, I think like 3 chapters, and then I just didn't pick it up again. Laziness, procrastination, all the above. So yeah, I want to read this. And then the 2 books that I mentioned that I want to buy are, one of them is Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. And then the other one is The Book on Mental Toughness by Andy Frisella.
Oh, yeah.
So his
That'd be a good one to read while we're doing that.
Correct. And so right now it's actually on back order. I think they start shipping their new shipment at the end of this month. So I'm probably going to order that later today.
Yeah.
And then it'll arrive while we're in the middle of that.
It's not like in Barnes & Noble or on Amazon or anything?
No.
I like that.
Patrick Bet-David's is, but not Andy Frisella's. So I want to buy those. And then the other one, once I finish, like I said, it's a lot of ambition here. I started off the year with wanting to read a book a month and asked me how many books I've read since the beginning of this year. And we're on month 5. So, yeah, I'm behind.
You're catching up.
I'm behind. So I want to, and then the other one after Patrick Bet-David's, Their Next 5 Moves is Choose Your Enemies Wisely. That's his newest book. So
it makes you feel better. I've only read one because I was in the middle of one and it got too scary, so I gave it away.
You did. Lynn doesn't do well with horror anymore.
No, I used to. It wasn't even horror. It was like a mystery book, but I got scared. It was too real, and it freaked me out. So I used to read like 70 books a year, though. So my reading has really gone down.
Yeah.
So hopefully this will help pick it back up.
We'll make better disciplined choices. Stay consistent in them, and then. How's it going, everyone? All right, here's the part of the video where I need to apologize because silly me, and Lynn's gonna yell at me. Well, already did, I should say. I almost said we. It was my fault. I forgot to charge the camera, and the camera actually died on us in the middle of our recording. So this is coming after our event, and it's a little, it's gonna be a little edited, a little weird. So apologies. Now I know what I need to do moving forward. Shouldn't have this issue anymore. But I'll just really quickly repeat what I was gonna say. We talked about the books that we're gonna read, so I'm not necessarily gonna go into that. But the last thing that I was gonna say is this isn't a part of 75 Hard, the challenge itself, but this is something that I've wanted to do, have been striving to do since the beginning of the year. And I started off strong for like the first month, and then I kind of fell backwards and have not been consistent in a while. And that is reading the Bible. This is the big version. This is the big King James version. I'm going to get a smaller Bible for myself. But, I want to spend some time reading Scripture every single day. And I said it earlier in the podcast that knowledge is power, yes. Well, no, sorry. Applied knowledge is power. We have this conception, or we have this concept that knowledge is power. No, it's applied knowledge. You have to learn the information, and then you have to apply it. You have to practice it. You have to live it. And you have to be consistent with it. And I think that that's where you find a lot of power and growth and leveling up to the next level, or shattering your limits and ascending, as I like to say.
Yeah.
So that's a goal for me. Is I want to start my day by we wake up and thank God, but I want to start my day by thanking God and then going into the Scripture and spending some time there. So that's one of my goals. But that's really all I was going to say, and it's frustrating that we had maybe 5 minutes left of recording and then the camera died. But hey, you live and you learn, make mistakes, make those adjustments, learn from those mistakes, make those adjustments, make those pivots, and then go out there and be successful. Lynn, is there any other closing remarks you had?
You'll notice I have glasses on now in this because I need to see the event that we went to. So normally I don't wear my glasses, so that's a new look. You might have some reflection. It's okay that you didn't charge the camera. I didn't yell at him. I was very nice about it. But now it's time for us to get our baby and put him to bed because he's had a long day.
Yes.
I'm excited to start this challenge. I'm a little nervous. I think it's going to be a challenge. Definitely different from the first time we did it, but I'm excited to challenge myself, for us to do it together, and hopefully you guys hold us accountable, and we're going to hold each other accountable.
Yeah, and again, we said it at the beginning, if you want to join, you're only going to get a short time frame of notice. When the day the episode drops, this episode drops, which is on Monday, is the day that we start the challenge. So if you listen, again, regularly, we appreciate it. It really means a lot to us. That is the day that we're starting 75 Hard if you want to be on the same timeline as us. But if you need a day or two to think about it or jump into it, start whenever. Let us know. We want to be able to support you. We want to be able to encourage you, and then we can chat about how it's going for each of us. But at the end of the day, I think that this is going to be a great challenge for us. It's going to be great to help us reset and get into that mindset that we know we need to do. Getting that lifestyle. That's more important, is making that adjustment and making this part of our lifestyle. So that's what we look forward to. But anyways, we got to go. We got to run. Baby is tired, so it was great to spend time with you guys. We love you. We appreciate you. Actually, real quick, Lynn, just really, really briefly, we did forget this. Peaks and valleys.
Oh, okay. Peak was... Rhaegar's just growing, and he, last week I said, I haven't been sleeping much, because he hasn't been sleeping much, and I think it's because he's been learning a new skill. He can now clap on command, which is so cute and adorable, so I think that's his new skill, and he, does a funny thing with his lips.
He goes,
yeah.
Sounds like a motorboat.
Which is like a new skill too. So he's learning new skills. Even though I'm not getting much sleep, it's great seeing him just absorb everything. Valley, I always just say, a little tired.
Yeah.
But, Mother's Day is coming up, so that's exciting. So I'm not even going to worry about a valley. We're just going uphill from here.
That's a great point. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Happy Mother's Day to you.
Thanks. I forgot I was even a mother. I was like, let's get this ready for our moms. And then Alex was like, no, you're a mom too. Now too. And I didn't even think of it. So thanks.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. The work that you do. We are the children, because we all come from a mom, right? We would not be here. We would not be able to do what we do if it wasn't for your unconditional support, unconditional and loving support. Every day is Mother's Day. I truly believe that. This is just a day that we highlighted a little bit more. But Mom, I love you. Thank you so much for everything. Mother-in-law, I love you. Thank you so much for everything. And just all, my grandmas, all the women that I look up to in my life, you have all helped shape me. So it really means a lot, and I appreciate you. And blessings to you always. Perfect. And then for me, real quick, peaks and valleys. Peak, I would say, is making this adjustment. My what I'm going to say is both my peak and valley. Peak, making this adjustment, being committed to it, making the decision, stop being kind of in that gray of uncertainty. I'm going for it. So I'm excited about that. My valley is that I have not been as consistent as I want to be. So this is going to change that. I firmly believe that. We're going to make it happen. We're not going to take no for an answer. We're not going to take defeat for an answer. And even if we fail, I plan on still going through it. Like I mean it. Like I'm gonna finish this strong.
Yeah,
I'm gonna change this. So
you won't fail.
Thank you. You won't fail either.
Thanks.
All right. Well, everyone.
I will learn from my previous failures.
Yes. You have the app now, and I'll remind you, and you can remind me, and we'll have our journal. So, anyways, go out there this week, shatter your limits and ascend, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Take care.
Bye, guys.